This video is about the alpha loved a vampire bride, but his pack hunted her kind. If this story captivates you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. In the heart of Moonshadow Grove, the air was thick with tension as night fell. Packs of werewolves roamed the periphery, their claws echoing against the earth, while the alpha, Kale, stood at the edge of the clearing, his heart torn between duty and desire. His pack's instinct hammered in his chest to hunt the creatures of the night, especially vampires. Yet he felt an unfamiliar pull that made him question everything he'd been taught. Kale, what are you doing? His beta, Rowan, approached with furrowed brows and a tail swishing anxiously. The others are waiting. We need to patrol before the blood moon rises. I know, Kale replied, his voice strained. But something feels different tonight. Rowan huffed, glancing around the shadows that danced beneath the trees. Different? You mean that vampire presence we sensed earlier? We should be hunting, not contemplating our next meal. The woods hung heavily between them, but Kale's gaze was drawn toward the forest's edge, where the moonlight illuminated a figure standing alone, a woman, ethereal and enchanting, her skin shimmering like the night sky. Kale. Rowan's voice broke through his reverie. Focus. But it was too late. Curiosity had chained his heart. He stepped away from Rowan, driven by an instinct deeper than the call of his pack. The woman turned, revealing crimson eyes that glowed with an intensity that sent shivers coursing through him. Stay back, she called, though her voice was softer than a whisper, laced with an enchanting melody that tugged at his soul. Why do you linger here, vampire? Kale felt the growl rumble deep in his chest, but it lacked the fervor of his usual command. This is no place for you. Her lips curved into a shadow of a smile. And yet here I am. Do you truly wish to hunt me, Alpha? The title wrapped around him like a shackle, but he shook it off. I should. My pack hunts your kind. It is our way. Your way, she echoed, stepping closer, her ethereal aura shimmering with each movement. Or perhaps it is merely a tradition born of fear. Kale's instincts flickered, as if the moon itself was weaving a spell around them. What do you want, vampire? Do you seek to provoke my pack? I seek peace. Her voice was steady, yet a hint of vulnerability lingered beneath. I am Leora, and I do not wish to be your enemy. Kale's heart quickened. Peace is a fantasy in a world where our kind have spilled blood for centuries. Then maybe it is time we rewrite the story. Leora stepped closer, her gaze unwavering. What if our destinies are intertwined? Kale felt the air crackle between them, a spark igniting something deep within. You speak of destiny, but our worlds are destined to clash. Only if you allow them to. Leora held his gaze, her eyes aflame with determination. Rowan's growl broke the moment. Kale, you can't trust her. She is a vampire. I can feel her heart, Kale replied, his voice low, almost a whisper. There is more to her than just the blood that runs in her veins. Don't be a fool, your duty is to your pack. Rowan interjected, frustration boiling over. Leora turned her gaze to Rowan, an unspoken challenge in her posture. And what if I could help you? What if I could show you that we are not all monsters? Kale's heart raced with conflicting emotions. Help, you speak of peace, yet your kind has caused us suffering. I know. Leora sighed, the weight of centuries resting on her shoulders. But we can change that together. Kale stepped back, wrestling with the emotions rising like fire in his chest. You were asking for a bond that my pack would never support. I cannot betray them. She took a step closer, sadness dimming the fire in her eyes. I understand, but what if you were meant for something greater? What if we are destined to break the cycle of hatred? Kale's thoughts whirled. The weight of his pack's expectations bore down on him. You don't know what you were asking. I'd be shunned, hunted. Then let them hunt. Leora's voice was firm, yet tender. You deserve the chance to choose your own path. Kale clenched his fists, the struggle within him palpable. What if you betray me? I won tea. Her promise hung in the air, shimmering with authenticity. I only wish for a chance to prove that there is beauty in our differences. Beauty? Rowan scoffed, his tone dripping with skepticism. You were blinded by her allure, Kale. Am I? Kale shot back, his patience wearing thin. Maybe you were the one blind to the possibility of change. Rowan's ears flattened back in disbelief. You can be serious. Perhaps I am, Kale replied, his voice steady. I need to know what is true. And if it is a trap? Rowan's tone was grim. Kale turned back to Leora, the spark of hope flickering in his heart. Tell me, Leora, if this is a trap, what do you stand to gain? She hesitated, searching his eyes. Everything. I stand to gain a chance to rewrite a tale of hatred into one of unity, but I need you to trust me. Gale's heart thundered as he weighed her words, the moonlight reflecting in both their eyes. Trust is hard to come by, but there is something about you. Something that calls to you. The aura stepped even closer, the distance between them dwindling. Then let us explore this together. Rowan growled, breaking the moment. This is madness, you risking everything for a vampire. Gale turned to his friend, the weight of his role pressing heavily on his shoulders. Or maybe I am risking everything for a chance at something real, something worth fighting for. Leora's gaze softened, and a warmth enveloped them, a connection that transcended their natures. Let me show you the world beyond fear, Kale. Let me be your guide. For a moment, the winds whispered promises of something greater, a union that could heal the wounds of their kind. Kale looked into Leora's eyes, feeling the pull of destiny urging him forward. Meet me tomorrow beneath the ancient oak, he whispered, the decision made. If you truly seek peace, let us begin with a truce. Gale. Rowan's voice trembled with protest, but Kale silenced him with a look, his heart resolute. I will find a way, he said with a determination that surprised even him. But only if you promise to be there, Leora. I promise, she replied, her eyes alight with hope. As the moon bathed them in silver, Kale felt the bond forming, one that could change the fate of not just their lives, but their worlds. Destiny awaited, wrapped in the arms of the unexpected, a love that defied imagination and instinct. Together, they stood on the edge of something profound, their breaths mingling in a world filled with uncertainty, yet filled with the thrill of the unknown. The heart of Moonshadow Grove pulsed with magic, and as Kale took a step back into his pack as shadows, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had already begun to change the course of their intertwined destinies. Asterisk to be continued. Asterisk. As dawn broke, the first light of the sun filtered through the trees, casting long shadows across Moonshadow Grove. Kale stood beneath the ancient oak, anxiety twisting in his gut. The heart of the forest pulsed with life, yet all he could focus on was Leora. Would she come? The whispers of his pack echoed in his mind, a cacophony of disbelief and concern. They were right to be wary, trusting her could mean jeopardizing everything he had worked to protect. And yet every second spent waiting felt like a betrayal to the bond they had begun to forge. Gale. Rowan emerged from the underbrush, his brow furrowed, concern etched into his features. You can't seriously be considering this, can you? Meeting her. Rowan. Kale's voice was steady yet heavy with conflict. I need to know what she has to offer. We can't continue to live trapped by the hatred of the past. Hatred is what keeps our pack strong. Rowan's tone was sharp, but beneath it lay a thread of desperation. You don't understand what you're risking, what she is. It is not so simple. Kale felt frustration bubbling within him. What if she is right? What if there is a chance for peace? Rowan's ears drooped, and a deep sigh escaped his lips. Peace isn't born from trust between enemies, Kale. It is born from strength, you putting everything on the line for a fairy tale. Before Kale could respond, a figure stepped into the clearing. Leora emerged from the shadows, her presence vibrant against the misty backdrop. The air shifted, filled with a tantalizing blend of danger and allure. Her crimson eyes locked onto Kale, drawing him in like a moth to a flame. I came, she said softly, her voice like a melody that soothed his inner turmoil. I promised, didn't I? Kale's heart raced, the tension of their initial meeting flooding back. You did. He hesitated, glancing at Rowan, who stood rigid with palpable tension. I wanted to see if the peace he spoke of could be real. Leora nodded, understanding as she crossed her features. I know it is a risk, but I believe we can forge something beautiful despite our pasts. Rowan stepped forward, his voice taut with skepticism. And what do you stand to gain from this, vampire? Your kind has caused our people pain for centuries. Leora straightened, her expression hardening. I stand to gain a chance to change that. We are not all monsters, Rowan. I want to show you that. Kale felt the weight of his pack's expectations pressing down on him. If we were to even consider this, we need to do it right. We cannot hide our intentions. Rowan narrowed his eyes. And what about your pack? They want to welcome her with open arms, Kale. You know that. I'll deal with them, Kale replied, his voice firm. But I need to understand Leora's world. Perhaps there is a way to bridge the gap. Leora stepped closer, her gaze unwavering. I can take you to my realm, show you the truth that lies beyond fear. Gale's heart pounded at the thought of crossing into her world, one where danger lurked in every shadow. And what if it is a trap? Then you will know. Leora's voice was steady, filled with sincerity. But I would never betray the bond we were beginning to form. Kale's instinct screamed at him to retreat to protect his pack and the life he had known. But deep within, a flicker of hope ignited. "When?" "Tonight," she replied, her smile brightening the clearing. "Underneath the full moon, I'll open the veil for you. We'll take this step together." "And if the pack finds out?" Rowan interjected, his voice laced with concern. "They'll never allow you to return." Kale turned to Rowan, a fierce determination in his gaze. "This is my choice. I am willing to risk it all for a chance at understanding. I can't live in fear of what might happen." "What about the consequences?" Rowan's voice trembled with frustration. "You could lose everything, your pack, your status, your life." Kale met Rowan's stare, the bond of brotherhood flickering like a dying flame. "What is life without love, without the chance to rewrite our destinies?" Rowan's expression softened, but the worry lingered in his eyes. "Just to be careful, Kale. Promise me you'll come back." "I promise," Kale whispered, the weight of his decision heavy on his heart. As dusk fell, Kale returned to the ancient oak, anticipation mingling with fear. The night sky shimmered with stars, casting an ethereal glow across the grove. He could feel the pull of the moon, the promise of something magical waiting to unfold. Leora appeared from the shadows, her presence both calming and exhilarating. "Are you ready?" Kale nodded, his heart racing. "Show me." With a graceful motion, Leora extended her hand. "Hold on tightly. The journey ahead will test us both." As their fingers intertwined, a surge of energy coursed through them, enveloping them in a cocoon of warmth and light. The world around them shifted, colors swirling and merging until they were surrounded by a mist that felt alive. The veil parted, revealing a landscape beyond Kale's wildest imagination. Blood-red skies hung low, illuminated by twin moons that cast silver beams across a field of vibrant blossoms. Creatures of every kind roamed freely, their beauty astonishing yet foreign. "Welcome to my world," Leora breathed, her gaze filled with wonder. "This is where the boundary between our two realms blurs." Kale took a step forward, his senses overwhelmed. It's breathtaking. Yet beneath the surface of beauty lay an undercurrent of tension, a reminder that danger always lurked. "What happens if we rediscovered?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Leora's expression shifted to one of seriousness. "Then we'll face the consequences together, but for now, let me show you the truth of my kind." The pair wandered through realms, Leora pointing out the wonders of her world, the flora that glowed in the dark, the laughter of creatures that danced through the night, and the vibrant energy that thrummed beneath their feet. "See," she said, her eyes sparkling with passion. "We are not the monsters you believe us to be." Kale's heart swelled as he absorbed her words, the thrum of destiny growing louder with each revelation. "Your people, they live without fear." "Most do," Leora replied, pausing to look into his eyes. "But there are factions among my kind that still cling to old grudges, that peace is so vital." "Can it really be achieved?" Kale asked, doubt creeping into his voice. "It can," Leora insisted, determination shining in her crimson gaze. "But it requires those willing to fight for it. Together, we can create a new path." Kale stepped closer, his fingers brushing against her arm, feeling the warmth of her skin. "You've shown me so much, but what if I can't bridge the gap? What if my pack refuses to see?" "Then we'll face it together," Leora vowed, her voice strong yet tender. "You have the power to lead them toward change, you just need to believe in the possibility." As the moons hung high, illuminating their surroundings, the gravity of their connection deepened. Kale felt a longing pull him toward her, a magnetic force that transcended the boundaries of their worlds. But fate had a cruel sense of timing. A rustle in the shadows caught his attention, and he instinctively turned, his heart pounding. Emerging from the darkness were figures cloaked in shadows, their presence a chilling reminder of danger. "Gale." A voice boomed from the darkness, a familiar growl that sent chills through him. "What have you done?" Rowan stood at the forefront, eyes blazing with fury and betrayal. Behind him, the rest of the pack emerged, their expressions a mix of shock and rage, their instincts on high alert. "Rowan, wait!" Kale shouted, stepping protectively in front of Leora. "It's not what you think. This is a betrayal." Rowan's voice was thunderous, echoing through the grove. "You've put us all at risk for a vampire." Leora stepped forward, an air of defiance surrounding her. "I seek peace, not war. If you let go of your prejudices, you see that we can forge a new path together." But Rowan's eyes were filled with hurt and disbelief. "You think we can trust her, after everything?" Kale's heart broke at the sight of his friend's anguish. "We can continue living this way. We are stronger united than divided. Is that what you really believe?" Rowan's voice trembled, his expression shifting from anger to pain. "Or is it just what you want to believe?" I believe in love, Rowan, Cale replied, desperation threading through his voice. In the possibility of a future that doesn't involve bloodshed. Love? Rowan scoffed, shaking his head. You've lost your mind. This is not a fairy tale, it is reality. The tension crackled like a live wire in the air, thick enough to suffocate. As Cale stood protectively in front of Leora, his heart thudded with a chaotic rhythm, drowning out the world around him. Rowan's fierce gaze bore into him, a weight of betrayal heavy in the atmosphere. I trusted you, Cale, Rowan said, his voice raw with emotion. You were meant to protect the pack. Instead, you've handed us over to our enemies. Cale clenched his fists, fighting against the tide of anger and hurt that surged within him. This isn't about betrayal, Rowan, you don't understand. Then make me understand. Rowan spat. Tell me why you'd risk everything for a creature that feeds on the blood of our kind. Leora stepped forward, her presence both calming and fierce. I am not your enemy. I want peace. Listen to me. Her voice was steady, but Cale could see the tremor that betrayed her confidence. They want to take our land, our lives, Rowan growled, his pack closing ranks behind him, eyes narrowed, teeth bared. Why should we believe anything you say? Leora's gaze shifted, acknowledging the pain that lay beneath Rowan's fierce exterior. Because I come with a proposal, a chance to unite against a common enemy, opposing factions among my kind that thrive on this hatred. What do you mean? Cale asked, the flicker of hope igniting within him. There are those among the vampires who wish to incite war to take advantage of the old grudges, Leora explained. Together, we can form an alliance strong enough to thwart them, but not if you're blinded by old prejudices. Rowan scoffed. You think we'll just play nice? What if this is all a ruse? Cale stepped closer, desperation creeping into his tone. What if it isn't tea? What if she is right? We've been living in the shadow of fear for too long. This could change everything. The only thing that needs changing is your delusion, Rowan replied, his voice low and intense, eyes flickering with frustration. You're letting your feelings for her cloud your judgment. You've forgotten your duty. Cale's heart ached at Rowan's words. My duty is to protect our future, not repeat the mistakes of our past. Your feelings? Rowan repeated incredulously. You think this is just about you and your feelings? This is about all of us, our lives. Your life, Leora interjected, her voice strong yet soft, is worth fighting for, just like mine. You think of us as monsters, but I can show you a world beyond fear, a world where we can coexist. Rowan's face twisted in rage and sorrow. I won't let you take him from us, Leora. I won't let you corrupt him with your deceit. Cale's heart sank. He couldn't bear to see his friend's anguish, but he had to stand firm. This isn't corruption, Rowan. This is hope. Hope? Rowan's voice cracked. You think hope will save us from what is waiting in the shadows? Leora stepped forward, drawing closer to Cale's side, her presence grounding him amidst the storm of emotion. What is waiting in the shadows is fear, bred from misunderstanding. Let me assure you that my kind wants the same thing, peace. But the pack surged closer, their growls filling the air, a chorus of primal instincts echoing through the grove. You don't belong here, vampire, their voice shouted from the crowd. Leave, or we will force you out. Stop, Cale shouted, raising his arms to placate the angry wolves. Please, listen, what if Leora is right? What if we could unite against those who threaten us both? Unite? Rowan's voice dripped with sarcasm. And what happens when you're all lovey-dovey, and she turns on you? She could destroy you in an instant. I know she won't, Cale replied, his voice steady and fierce. I believe in her. The air hung heavy with tension, a silent war brewing between the two factions. Leora's eyes shimmered with unshed tears, the pain of rejection cutting deep. You don't have to fear me, Rowan. I only want to help. Rowan's demeanor softened momentarily, confusion flickering in his eyes. And how can I trust you? With delicate poise, Leora stepped forward, her crimson gaze locking onto Rowan's. Trust is earned. I can prove my intentions, but I need your cooperation, not your hate. Cale felt the tension in Rowan's stance shift, but the anger remained, a swelling storm of emotions. You think you can win us over with pretty words? I can start by showing you the truth, Leora replied. Take me to your pack. Let me show them that I am not their enemy. Cale's heart raced, the intensity of the moment threatening to swallow him whole. Rowan, this could be our chance. It is worth the risk. Rowan hesitated, the flicker of doubt in his eyes muted by the fierce loyalty to his pack. You think we can trust her, after everything? I believe she can help us, Cale insisted, his voice low and earnest, filled with the weight of his conviction. But only if we give her a chance, only if we are willing to let go of the past. Rowan's expression hardened once more, but the resolve in Kale's voice was unmistakable. And if this goes wrong? Then I'll take full responsibility, Kale vowed, his heart pounding. But I can't turn my back on love and hope, not now. Leora's hand brushed against Kale's, their connection a flicker of warmth amidst the coldness of their surroundings. Together, we can change the tide. Fine, Rowan relented, his voice strained with frustration and reluctant acceptance. But if anything goes wrong, it's on you, Kale. With a nod, Kale turned to Leora, his heart ablaze with determination. We'll do this together. We'll show them a different way. As the night deepened, a silent agreement formed between them. They would face the challenge of enmity head-on, a fragile alliance woven from hope and love, but thick with uncertainty. The pack surrounded them, a tight circle of watchers, eyes fierce yet tinged with curiosity. Kale led the way back to their territory, Leora at his side. The shadows of the trees loomed over them, the howl of the wind echoing their fears and hopes alike. It felt like stepping into a tempest, the air electric with anticipation and dread. "Do they fear me?" Leora whispered, her voice barely audible over the rustling leaves. "Fear can be quelled with understanding," Kale replied, glancing at her sideways. "And I will help you show them that." "Thank you," she breathed, her eyes glimmering with gratitude. "I never expected this." As they approached the clearing where the pack waited, Kale felt the weight of their gazes like an invisible shroud. "Remember," he murmured to Leora, "be honest, speak from your heart." The pack stood rigid, their bodies tensed, ready for anything. Kale stepped forward, his heart throbbing with apprehension. "Everyone, listen," he called, his voice clear and steady. "I bring you Leora. She seeks peace, not war." A murmur swept through the crowd, skepticism echoing in every whisper. Rowan stood beside Kale, tension radiating from him like heat from a flame. "Peace?" he scoffed. "With a vampire? You read joking." "I am not joking," Kale replied, his voice unwavering. "If we want to survive, we must be willing to change." Leora stepped forward, her presence demanding attention. "I come here not to incite fear, but to dissolve it," she said, her voice steady but passionate. "My people are divided, just as yours are, but there is a mutual threat, one that seeks to use our hatred against us." "Like we do believe anything you say," the voice called out from the back. Kale stepped closer to Leora, their connection palpable in the air. "Listen to her, let her explain, give her a chance to prove that not all vampires seek conflict." Leora nodded, her courage shining through. "I wish to show you that there is more to my kind than bloodlust. We can unite against common enemies. Together, we can protect what we love." A ripple of murmurs spread through the pack, uncertainty mingling with curiosity. "What if she is lying?" someone challenged. Kale pressed on, his voice rising above the doubts. "Then we will deal with it together, but we must try. We owe it to ourselves to seek understanding." Rowan's expression was torn. "And if she betrays you?" "She won't," Kale said firmly, his heart resolute. "I believe in her, just as I believe we can change our fate." Leora's gaze met Kale's, a silent acknowledgement passing between them, the weight of their bond palpable. "If you give me the chance, I will show you the truth of my world," she promised. The pack. Kale stood at the forefront of the pack, his heart racing as he faced their mixed expressions of disbelief, anger, and curiosity. Leora stood beside him, a beacon of light against the looming shadows of distrust. The moon illuminated her ethereal features, but it couldn't quite chase away the shadows of doubt that clung to the gathered wolves. "To tell us what you want, vampire," a burly wolf named Grayson growled, stepping forward, his muscles tense with apprehension. "Why should we trust you?" "I come seeking allyship," Leora replied, her voice steady but laced with an underlying tremor. "I know your kind has faced torment at the hands of my people, but I wish to change that narrative." "Change it?" Rowan echoed, incredulity dripping from his words. "Your kind has been our enemies for centuries. How can we believe a word you say?" "Because not all of us believe in the cycle of hate." Leora's voice rose, filled with passion. "I wish to unite against the greater threat factions among my kind that want to reignite this war." Kale felt the tension in the air thicken, the weight of centuries of animosity pressing upon them. He sensed the fear coursing through the pack, a primal instinct that urged them to remain wary. "Leora speaks the truth," he said, his voice unwavering. "We cannot afford to be divided any longer." "Loyalty to your kind is one thing, Kale," Rowan replied, his voice slow and tense. "But this is different. You are risking everything for a feeling." "It is more than a feeling, Rowan," Kale shot back, desperation coloring his tone. It is about love, hope, and the possibility of a future where we can coexist. A ripple of murmurs swept through the pack, some wolves shifting uneasily, others glaring at Leora with contempt. Kale searched their faces for understanding, for an inkling of hope that they might see beyond their fear. Leora stepped closer, her eyes shimmering with determination. If you give me the opportunity, I can prove my sincerity. I can show you the peace I seek. Prove it? Grayson scoffed, crossing his arms defensively. How do we know you won't turn on us the moment we let our guard down? Kale's heart sank at the skepticism surrounding them. Rowan clenched his jaw, his eyes dark with uncertainty. They are right to be cautious, Kale. You think this is just about you and your feelings? It is not just about me. Kale insisted, his voice rising in fervor. It is about all of us. The world we've known is shifting. We must adapt or be consumed. And what if she leads us to our doom? Rowan pressed the hurt in his eyes palpable. What if your heart blinds you to the truth? Kale stepped forward, the distance between him and Leora narrowing. I can ignore this connection, Rowan. I can turn my back on her or the bond we've formed. It feels as if fate has intertwined our destinies. Leora's gaze softened, her crimson eyes reflecting understanding and vulnerability. I promise I will not betray you. Let me show you both my realm and my people. You will see that not all vampires seek to harm. The silence weighed heavily, tension crackling in the air like electricity. Kale's heart raced, and he could feel every wolf's gaze upon him, scrutinizing his every move. We have nothing to lose by hearing her out, he said, trying to quell the storm brewing within him. But everything to gain. Rowan's expression shifted, uncertainty flickering in his eyes, but his loyalty to the pack held strong. And if this goes wrong, if she betrays us, then we'll all face it together, Kale replied, summoning every ounce of conviction within him. But we owe it to ourselves to try, to seek understanding. Fine, Rowan relented, though his voice was strained with reluctance. But remember, Kale, if she turns on you, it is on you to fix this. Kale nodded, relief washing over him as he turned to Leora. We'll all do this together. I stand with you. Leora smiled, a mixture of gratitude and determination flooding her features. Thank you, Kale. You won't regret it. As the pact formed, the atmosphere lightened, yet a shadow remained, a reminder of the dangers lurking in the unknown. Together, they began discussing the next steps, but Kale could feel the weight of the pack's skepticism pressing down on them. Days turned into weeks, and Kale and Leora worked tirelessly to bridge the chasm between their two worlds. Leora introduced Kale to her realm, a vibrant tapestry of color and light, where creatures of all kinds lived in harmony. He marveled at the beauty of her world, the flora and fauna enchanting him at every turn. See? Leora pointed, her eyes alight with joy as they walked through a grove of luminescent flowers. We can coexist, Kale. There is beauty in our differences. But the nights grew darker, and whispers of treachery followed them like shadows. Some in Kale's pack remained stubborn, unwilling to let go of their hatred. They viewed every meeting as a threat, every moment of connection as betrayal. I won't let you take him from us, vampire, one of the more aggressive wolves, Alaric, snarled during one of their meetings. You eat poison, and you'll drag him down with you. Enough. Kale's voice thundered, cutting through the tension. You don't see what is in front of you. Leora is trying to help us. Help us? Alaric laughed bitterly, his eyes flashing with anger. You think she is here for friendship, she is playing a game, and we read the pawns. Kale felt the anger rising within him, a tide threatening to overflow. What do you know of her heart? You only see the vampire in her, not the woman who stands before us, seeking unity. Leora's expression remained calm, but Kale could see the hurt etched into her features. I am not here to harm you. I only want to help, she said softly, her voice trembling slightly. Alaric stepped closer, his presence imposing as he towered over her. Help! All I see is a threat. I won't be fooled by pretty words. Kale stepped protectively in front of Leora, his body tense with anger. You will not threaten her. Is this what you want, Kale? Alaric challenged, his voice slow and dangerous. To be with her? To betray your own kind? Kale's heart raced as he faced his pack, the weight of their expectations pressing down on him. I want a future where we can all live without fear. Leora reached out, placing a gentle hand on Kale's arm, grounding him. They need time to understand, she said softly. But I will not hide who I am a vampire, and I seek peace. The room fell silent, a heavy tension lingering like a storm. Kale could feel the storm brewing within his pack, and a part of him feared what would come next. Then let this prove it, Rowan said, breaking the silence. Prove to us that your intentions are genuine, Leora. Take us to your world again, but this time, show us your people. Let us see how you live. I can do that, Leora replied, her voice steady. I want you to see the truth, but I need your trust. I cannot change perceptions alone. Trust isn't given easily, Alaric sneered. But perhaps we'll see you for the monster you truly are. Enough. Kale's voice boomed, echoing through the clearing. We will treat her with respect, but there will be consequences. The pack fell silent, their eyes darting between Kale and Leora, apprehensive yet intrigued. The moment hung in the air thick with anticipation. Let us go, Kale said, his heart racing with every beat. Let us uncover the truth together. As they gathered for the journey ahead, Kale felt the weight of the past pressing down on him. The shadows of doubt lingered. Would they find unity, or would the darkness overwhelm them? Leora held his gaze, her eyes sparkling with a mixture of hope and fear. Are you ready? As she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Kale nodded, determination flooding through him. Together, we'll forge a new path. With that, Kale, Leora, and the pack headed towards the border of their territories, stepping across the threshold that separated their worlds. As they crossed into Leora's realm, the air shimmered with magic, the very essence of their connection sparking amidst uncertainty. The vibrant landscape unfolded before them, a tapestry of wonders that felt alive with energy. Kale turned to the pack, feeling their apprehension mixed with curiosity. This is our opportunity to see beyond our fears, he said, his voice strong and unwavering. Let us discover what lies beneath the surface. Leora smiled, her expression a mixture of warmth and vulnerability. Thank you, Kale. I promise I will show you the truth. As they ventured deeper into the heart of El,